Have you ever noticed that some everyday sounds make you feel way more irritated than they should? I'm talking about things like chewing, tapping, or heavy breathing. If those noises drive you up the wall, you might actually have a condition where certain sounds trigger intense emotional reactions. For some people, it's just a wave of frustration. But for others, it can feel like pure panic, rage, or an overwhelming need to escape. So why does this happen? Why do some brains treat simple, harmless noises like a life or death threat, while others barely even notice them? Let's break down what science says about these powerful sound sensitivity reactions. The clinical term for this literally means hatred of sound, and for people who struggle with it, that's exactly what it feels like. Common trigger noises can include someone chewing gum, a pen clicking over and over, keyboard tapping, sniffing, or even lip smacking. To be clear, these aren't just annoying. They can cause an instant, full-blown fight-or-flight reaction. It is as if your body believes you're in real danger, except the danger is just someone slurping their noodles next to you. Now here's where it gets really interesting. For a long time, doctors and psychologists thought extreme sound sensitivity was just a personality quirk, an extreme form of being picky or irritable. But modern brain scans are telling a very different story. Back in 2017, researchers at Newcastle University made a groundbreaking discovery. They found that when people with this condition hear their trigger sounds, a specific brain region called the anterior insular cortex, or AIC, becomes hyperactive. This part of the brain is crucial for processing both our emotions and our internal bodily states, like our heart rate or that feeling of butterflies in our stomach. In simple terms, their brains don't just hear the sound as a neutral piece of information. They experience it as a direct emotional threat. It's a full-body experience, and the AIC isn't working alone. Other key brain regions also play a major role. The amygdala, which you can think of as our brain's built-in alarm system, lights up as if real danger is present. At the very same time, the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that usually helps us stay calm, think rationally, and regulate our impulses, gets overridden. This explains why the reactions to these trigger sounds feel so automatic, so visceral, and so completely impossible to control in the moment. You can't just will yourself to calm down. Researchers have also discovered unusual patterns of connectivity between the brain, as sound processing areas and its emotional regulation centers. It seems the wiring itself is different. This structural difference might explain why people with extreme sound sensitivity can't simply tune out noises the way others can. Their brain is physically wired to pay extra attention to them. So let us be crystal clear, this isn't just being sensitive or a matter of willpower. It's a legitimate neurological reaction where the brain misinterprets harmless, everyday sounds as genuine threats. Now, while this condition isn't officially listed in the DSM, the big diagnostic manual for mental health, it frequently overlaps with other well-known conditions. These include ADHD, OCD, and sensory processing disorder, or SPD. And this makes sense because all of these conditions involve fundamental differences in how the brain filters sensory input from the world. Let's look at some examples. Someone with ADHD who already struggles with regulating their focus might hyperfocus on the sound of a clock ticking to the point where they can't think about anything else. A person with OCD might feel an overwhelming compulsion to escape the room or perform a specific ritual when they hear a trigger sound. And for a child with sensory processing disorder, the sound of someone chewing might not just be annoying, it could be processed as physically painful. It shows just how deeply sensory experiences can affect us. So if this sounds like you, what can you do? How can you manage it? The good news is, while there's no single cure just yet, there are several effective strategies that can help you regain control and find some peace. First up is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. This type of therapy is designed to help retrain your brain's response to trigger sounds. Instead of seeing them as an immediate threat, you learn to reframe them as manageable, reducing that automatic panic response over time. Another powerful tool is sound management. This is all about controlling your auditory environment. Simple things like using a white noise machine, investing in a good pair of noise-canceling headphones, or trying out specialized earplugs like Loop can make a world of difference by reducing your exposure to triggers. For some, gradual exposure therapy can be beneficial. This involves slowly and safely reintroducing trigger sounds in a controlled setting. The goal is to gradually desensitize your brain and reduce its reactivity. This should always be done with the guidance of a professional. Don't underestimate the power of mindfulness and relaxation techniques. Practices like deep breathing exercises, meditation, or progressive muscle relaxation can help calm your body's fight-or-flight system when it gets activated. They give you a tool to use in the moment. On the more experimental side, there's a field called neuromodulation. This involves using mild, non-invasive electrical or magnetic stimulation to help rewire brain activity in the affected regions. It's still new, but the early results are promising. And finally, simple lifestyle changes can have a huge impact. Managing your overall stress levels, getting enough quality sleep, and crucially, communicating with your friends, family, and coworkers. Letting them know about your triggers isn't being difficult. It's helping them understand you better so they can be more considerate. The key takeaway here is that extreme reactions to everyday sounds are real. They are valid, and they're rooted in how your brain functions, not your personality. Understanding the why behind it is the first and most powerful step toward managing it. You are not broken, and you are not alone. So I want to hear from you. Do certain sounds instantly push you over the edge? If so, which ones are your biggest triggers? And more importantly, what strategies have helped you cope the most? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story could be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful and want to learn more about how our brains work, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.